districts that are willing to take this on and be much more thoughtful.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Mr. Hoekstra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, good to see you and glad that you're here today. Has the department done any estimate on what the cost was to states and local school districts to implement No Child Left Behind over the last 8 years?
I don't know of that. I don't know of it.
Would that, I would think that that would be valuable information too, because I'll tell you what I'm concerned about. I read your blueprint for reform, and the you know, it's relatively interesting. And then you go through here, and on page 7 it says a new approach. You get to page 13, and it says a new approach. A couple of more times through the document, it talks about a new approach, and it's like, wow, here we go again. You know, we had No Child Left Behind in 2001 as the new approach to education in America. And now for 8 years we have whipsawed local school districts and states to implement No Child Left Behind. And we may, whether you like No Child Left Behind or not, you know, we're, after 8 years we maybe have filtered down and we've actually got all the procedures in place and the mechanisms in place for No Child Left Behind. Now we get a new administration and it's a new approach. And it's, you know, I can tell you what my local schools are already telling me. It's kind of like we just got done with one system, and most of them didn't like it. One bad system that has put in a tremendous amount of cost and bureaucracy into the process, and now we've got, you know, quote-unquote, you geniuses in Washington coming up with the next new approach for us. And, you know, we've got a responsibility to educate kids every day, and now we're going to have to figure out the new approach. And, you know, they're saying, I wonder what this new approach is going to cost us. And I actually find it you know, almost incomprehensible that we've been moving forward for 8 years on No Child Left Behind, and you can't tell me what it's cost. Can you tell me what this new approach is going to cost in terms of mandates to states and local schools? And will this administration fully fund the mandates that it's going to put on states and schools?
Sir, let me be very, very clear. This blueprint, the ideas didn't come from geniuses in Washington. These ideas came from teachers and parents and principals and students around this country. The previous law was too punitive, it was too prescriptive, it lowered the bar for children, and it narrowed the curriculum. And what we want to do is we want to raise the bar, we want to have meaningful standards, we want to reward excellence, we want to increase local flexibility, and we want students to have a well-rounded curriculum. And this is the right thing to do for children, it's the right thing to do for adults. There are too many perverse incentives. The cost, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, how many, you know, when you went through No Child Left Behind, we went through and I highlighted every time it said the state or local school district shall, must, or will. Do you expect that this new authorization will be full of school district shall, the state will, the state must, or will there be a tremendous amount of flexibility? Because these ideas, you're right, I'm glad that they came from grassroots. So did No Child Left Behind. But what No Child Left Behind did is it went through the ideas that came up from the grassroots level, and they said, we're going to accept some, and we're going to leave some of the others on the wayside, and then we will tell local school districts that they shall or that they must. I can tell you that, and you know this, that the needs of Detroit are very, very different than the needs of Lansing, which are very different than the needs of Baldwin, Michigan. And will there be a tremendous amount of flexibility, or will this be full of the mandates? And if there are mandates, will this administration fully fund them?
One of my 4 core principles I talked about was more local flexibility. So we are absolutely committed to that. What I think all communities, Flint, Detroit, you name it, all children should have high expectations. The opposite of that happened under No Child Left Behind. Great teachers, great principals, great school districts need to be rewarded. There was none of that under No Child Left Behind. 50 ways to fail, no ways to succeed, and we want to fix that. Every child deserves a well-rounded curriculum. Everywhere I went, I heard about a narrowing of the curriculum, rural, urban, suburban. So I think, yes, we want to maintain local flexibility, but there are a couple core principles that every child in this country needs and deserves, and we're trying to stay true to that.
Yeah, I mean, the maintain local flexibility. I would tell you most school districts, and you know this if you've been talking to them, don't believe that there is a lot of local flexibility left. And I think that, you know, for us to restore it, you're going to have to make a massive change in the approach. I hope that's what we see when we actually get to legislative language, and you know, we look forward to working with you to restore local flexibility instead of federal mandates.
I appreciate that. I want to assure you I'm not some Washington bureaucrat. I worked on the other side of the law for 7.5 years, and I know very well what worked and what didn't.
It's amazing what Washington does to people, but we especially when they get in an agency. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.